Welcome to the ANZ Business Leader Boardroom series. In this second webisode of the series, FrontRunner Consulting's Doug Mathlin, together with some of the nation's elite business writers, will show you the best ways to retain and recruit quality staff. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll help you understand when is the best time to hire staff and how to find the best recruits for the role. In today's market, having quality staff on board is more important than ever. Customers want to deal with finance professionals. In addition, they want to deal with someone they like and can trust. Finding the perfect person for a job is not easy, but it is doable. And we're going to show you how to retain and recruit the right person today. In this webisode, we'll identify when you should hire staff, who you should hire, how to find the best recruits, the best interview methods, the best interview questions. We'll also look at how you compensate your staff appropriately and how you should manage and motivate your team. To get started, download your workbook now. You'll find the link for your workbook under this video. Then follow along with this webisode as we guide you on how to retain and recruit quality staff. There'll be times throughout this webisode where you'll be required to fill in your workbook. So make sure you pause the video and give yourself plenty of time to complete the tasks properly. If you do that, then at the end of this webisode, you should have all the tools needed to recruit and retain high-performing staff. In addition, you'll also receive 2 CPD points, which we'll give you the code for at the end of this webisode. Throughout this webisode, you'll hear from a lot of different people with various insights. To get the most value, always be thinking about how the information provided can apply to your business. So let's get started. Before you can hire the best person for the job, you must first understand when the best time to hire is.
When's the right time to recruit? And can I just quickly ask, who's recruited someone within the last 3 months? Wow, more than half of the room. And who's planning to recruit someone in the next 3 months? What's made you decide to recruit?
Just to got growth targets, and just to meet those growth targets, I needed to employ someone else.
I knew I wanted to do certain things, and just time was limited, so I knew I had to put someone in that place to free up.
I suppose you're probably pushed to a point where the team and yourselves are probably too busy, and then you've got the cash flow there, and that's probably when we would make the decision.
The longer term you go, if you can absorb a lot of it with, whether it's trail income or because you've got a substantial revenue coming in, it might be either a new financial plan or just an opportunity within your business that you can put someone in to grow a certain area, whether that be client retention or client marketing, that you haven't been able to do because you've been too busy doing the core business. But you've got some backing as far as revenue or trail income, whatever it is, to do the proactive methods.
We can learn a lot from listed companies and successful companies, but not necessarily apply all their practices, but apply the appropriate ones to them, because we know the difference between the big and the small businesses. Often the small businesses don't have well-documented systems, they don't have the procedures. We do tend to fly by the seat of our pants, particularly when we're relatively new. We develop systems on the go. It's pretty clear that we have to have some proactive and some reactive strategy, and obviously the reactive one is you've got a loan writer or a PA who's integral to the business, and if they resign and leave, your strategy is going to be pretty reactive, right? You're going to have to replace someone who's leaving. But at the same time, nice to have a bit of a balance where we're not having to just continually catch up.
Now that you know when the best time to recruit staff is, it's time for you to think about your own business. Do you have a proactive growth strategy, or are you seeing an increasing amount of client demand? Pause this video now and contemplate when the best time for you to hire would be and why. Identify any growth plans you might have for your own business. Now that you've identified when the best time for you to hire is, the next step to recruiting quality staff is deciding exactly who it is you want to hire.
What was the first person you hired? Was it a loan writer, or was it a loan administrator to help you with the processing?
It depends really on where your business is at from a performance point of view. I've got a number of admin staff, and I know where their capacity is at as far as like a file count point of view. We're not there, so my next point of view would be to hire a loan writer, keep topping it up, and it gets to a point where they're overstretched, then I'm looking for an admin person. So it depends on your business measurement, where it's actually at any point in time as to which one I'd be looking for.
I guess one of the things we also need to think about when we're hiring, particularly that first hire, I assume, I say this tongue in cheek too, that a lot of loan writers who are very good at loan writing probably don't like loan processing. There's not that many people that, I haven't met too many people that like both. There's a few out there, but that's a rare person. Most people are either very good at the sales side of thing and that tends to say I'm not that good at the detail and I don't really like it, or very good detail person that may not be as strong on the marketing side or the business development side. So therefore the recruitment decision is based on a skills match at least, or to counter for some of the skills that we don't have.
I think this time around we're taking on an administrator. I'm probably more looking to take on someone that I feel like that they've got the ambitions to do the loan writing, where previously the last administrator I hired was the exact opposite. I wanted someone who didn't have those ambitions, and I was actually the opposite to yourself, because I was protective of those referral sources and was quite nervous about taking on another business writer. It took some time before I did that.
Pause this video now and take the time to identify what type of employee your business needs. Do you need a loan writer or an administrative staff member? Jot it down in your workbook. Now that you've identified exactly who you need to hire, the next step to building a solid business is finding a good recruit.
No right and wrong here, and you've all got experiences where you've found people right where you want them and you'll go back to that place again. But you've also probably got some experience where you've tried an avenue or an area and you thought, well, I won't be going fishing there again.
Personally, would try multiple options there, and certainly speaking with putting it out there, putting it out to the BDMs. BDMs are often here. Someone's not happy where they are before anyone else will hear about it. So letting them know, one, that you're looking, you've got this opportunity. So it's from a lead source. There's a lot of good brokers who can't get business in the door, can write a loan but can't get business in the door. So letting everyone know from all the lenders, as far as we've got this opportunity for someone to come in, sit down, write some loans. It's certainly one way. Recruitment company, we use them as well. We've used them quite extensively over the last 12 months. We've actually now aligned ourselves with one. Aptus, they're cool. But there's a couple of other good ones out there. There's some not so good ones. But it's really a case of we've aligned ourselves with someone who knows our industry. And so we spend a lot of time with them then saying, okay, this is our business and this is our role. So if there's someone who's not wanting this type of role, it could be a good mortgage broker, don't even bother sending it through to us.
What made this one good versus what was the thing that you really didn't like?
This one was really keen on spending time with us to understand what we wanted and what we were looking for. Not just mortgage brokers come across my desk, here, have a look at this one. Try and cop their 7 or 10 grand or whatever they charge. So someone who's really willing to work with you.
Does anyone use advertising for recruitment? In Seek? Yep. Great. Anything else?
Can someone correct me if I'm wrong? Our experience of the recruitment agencies, and we've used 2 or 3, all they do is take some details and put it on Seek. That's what we've found. Their database is pretty much rare, or, there's not much in there.
What about client database? I've heard good stories and I've heard some bad stories, sad stories, about people that advertise that they've got a job going in their company and they send it out to their client database and say, look, we're looking to recruit. Some people have taken on some fantastic candidates that way, and others have had some buyer remorse, if you like.
Well, we've done the LinkedIn, like saying that a role's coming up and at least they can click into the company website and have a bit of a look, but we wouldn't do it directly to the client base. No.
The bad idea is when you say to your client database, I'm just recruiting, I'm looking to hire someone to help me, you will get probably a lot of offers. Whereas if you said, I need someone with these specific skills to do this specific role, and be really clear about the type of person you're looking for, at least you're not going to offend people if you say, look, we know we need someone with more or less of this, rather than, hey, look, we're hiring. So it still you might think, look, I just want to leave my clients as my clients and I want to recruit elsewhere, and that's fine. But it might be an opportunity for some people who think, maybe I should throw a line in that way, but be very clear about what you want so you don't upset people.
As you can see, there are plenty of methods you can use to find the right recruits. Pause this video now and take the time to jot down some of the ways you will find new recruits. Will you advertise, ask your client database, or contact your networks? Now that you've identified the methods you will use to find the best recruits for the position, it is time to decide how you will interview the lucky candidate. As a broker, you need to engage clients through a variety of mediums, so it often pays to conduct the interview process across a number of mediums.
If we're going to recruit somebody who needs to be able to communicate effectively by email, phone and face-to-face, doesn't it just stand to reason that we should interview them in exactly the same way? Everyone gets invited to attend the first interview by email. And one thing I know about that is all of the tyre kickers withdraw from the competition. What we're trying to do is avoid that first model, which is advertise, interview, offer, hope, which is the one we know that doesn't work. So the telephone interview for the top 6 or 8, however many that mid-short list is the time that you can spend 20 minutes or so. It says, Doug, congratulations, you've on to the next stage. We want to talk to you. We'll call you at 10:30 on Wednesday, and we're going to do an interview. And again, you'll have a set structure of questions, 6 or 7 questions, that just really what you want to find out is, can this person communicate with you effectively on the telephone? Because it's important, right? You need to be able to demonstrate that for the job. So rather than ask someone, what's your phone skills like? I'll say they're terrific. We're just going to find out what they're like. And hopefully you've also given them the suggestion that, look, we're a sales organisation, and assuming here we're all sales organisations, I need you to be thoughtful or mindful of the fact that I want you to sell yourself to me. So I'm going to be asking you about strengths and weaknesses and experiences and so on. Be mindful that I want you to tell us positive things about yourself. That's as much of the brief as I'd like to give them. 20 minutes, half a dozen questions, and I'll show you some examples of some questions you can give them. And all you want to do is just get the feel for whether this is a person that's going to be someone who's going to talk to your customers on your behalf, and you'll be happy and build that trust. Yep. So assuming that those half of the people that do the telephone interview pass the test, and you think, well, they've got a nice feeling about these people, then you'd invite them in for an interview. So this is I'm trying to create some science and a structure in a small business that most small businesses probably don't have. And then again, we'll have a formal interview, face-to-face, dressed for the job. Might take 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on the gig. It might be a number of face-to-face interviews as well, and there could be some testing in and around that. And again, you want to make sure that you've got the will, you can see the skills. You've probably already determined the skills already, but you've got to make sure that there's comfort with you face-to-face. And again, is this person going to represent me well, or my business particularly well? So from a structure perspective, I think you can get all the science around just looking at those 3 very simple things, email, telephone and face-to-face, to make a pretty good hiring decision, as opposed to felt need, advertise, interview, hope, offer and hope. Yeah? Has anyone tried and used that kind of a system? Has anyone used those types of tools already?
We do, for our loan writer on the sales side, we do some behavioural analysis, motivation of drivers, derailers, things like that. So it gets some insight into their beliefs and their opinions.
What tools do you use for that?
We use an outsourced company that has an online questionnaire.
Yep.
Yeah, not survey, not
personality profile.
Personality profile, yeah, that type of thing, and also goes into their sales skills, where they're strong, where they're weak, and sorts of things. And we do that pretty much before we're getting towards the end of the process. It's not a cheap exercise, but it enables us to go through that last stage and drill down on certain areas that we may not have questioned up front. So we sort of identify areas of weakness or areas that we just want to concentrate a little bit more on to get an idea. It also enables us, when we do some reference checking, to nail the reference check to that sort of 2 or 3 areas, rather than just a broad, what do they like, how long have they been there, that type of thing.
Pause this video now and make note of how you will interview your potential recruits. Will you conduct a face-to-face meeting, a telephone interview or an email interview? Perhaps you'll combine a few of these methods. Have a think about it and jot it down in your workbook. Now that you have the interview methods sorted, the next most important thing to consider is what questions you'll ask the potential candidate.
One of the first questions, the most common first questions I was told back in the day, was something nice and icebreakery like, which was, tell me about yourself, which apparently gives candidates the biggest fear, because it's like, oh damn it, can't you ask me a yes or no question first? Then I can get that one out of the way, and my voice will be spoken and I won't be able to stutter through that one. But tell me about yourself says, hey, present to me. These next questions, what did you like most or least about your last role? Hopefully you're looking for some matches. What is your value proposition, unique service proposition? What's your personal brand? Why should I choose you or what makes you the right candidate for this role? What do you want to achieve in this role? Maybe the questions around how much do you want to earn? What are some of the things that you're looking to achieve may give you an insight into some of the person's personal makeup, not just whether they fit into your budget.
I'm big, as John mentioned earlier, on the culture, whether they're going to fit within the team, and that's the greater whether the loan writers, the admin, or just the whole overall team. I actually like asking what they do for fun.
Telling the story, I normally start with that and just sort of see where they go from there. A successful answer for me would be one that I don't have to ask as many questions. Just sort of tell me what I want to know themselves. That would be the ideal outcome.
One that I like, especially with sort of internal staff, because once you've been through the process a few times, you sort of know how to answer the questions. You know, the competencies are quite similar. And a curveball I like to throw is I'll ask them near the end, so tell me about, you know, the worst movie you recently watched. And then I'll talk about it, and they'll, you know, bag it and tell me why it's horrible. And I'll say, okay, now tell me why should I watch that movie? And just, they freeze and think, oh my God, okay, how do I just turn that around? And there are some that just can't do it.
If you're going to hire a loan writer, having gone through an email and telephone-based interview, one of the things I would suggest, and I have done this with brokers, is to say, we want you to come in for an interview. We've got a business plan template for you, and it's clearly just goals, strategy. What do you want to achieve? How are you going to do it? I want you to present for 5 minutes, sitting down, comfortable, don't have to do a PowerPoint, anything like that, but just tell us what you're going to achieve and how you're going to go about it. So it actually asks them to do a bit of a presentation, because they're going to need to do that in front of your clients or their clients fairly shortly after. And also I want them to just have a bit of a strategic approach, as opposed to the person that comes into your business and says, right, just give me a whole bunch of leads and I'll see how many I can burn and see how many I can catch.
Pause this video now and take the time to write down any key questions that will help you get a better understanding of the potential candidate. Ask yourself, what would a candidate have to do to impress you? What traits are you looking for in your new employee? With the interview process out of the way, the next step you need to complete is compensation. How will you compensate your new recruit?
There's no easy answer to that. I mean, we provide all the admin. They basically write a loan, get it lodged, and then somebody else take care of the rest. So, whereas you're looking for someone who's doing from start to finish, and the base incentives are high because you don't have that extra overhead in the back end. So it does vary.
And then we have more responsibility too, don't we?
Correct.
I've got 2 brokers that work under me, and both of them came outside mortgage broking. One came from general insurance, an older guy, he was actually 56, he's 58 now. He took a 20-year payout from a general insurance company, a large one, and wanted a career change. And the other guy was actually in advertising, real estate advertising, and both those guys were offered bases between 50 and 75, and both of them took offers at the lower end. We're happy to. Both of them, I think, we're a bit nervous about the performance. They're almost wanting to take a lower base to prove themselves, and so maybe I got a bit lucky in that respect. But if I had got a bit of the gun BDN coming out of any of the larger financial institutions, I think the expectations would be 80 plus, which I wouldn't put behind.
Pause this video now and think about how you'll compensate your employee. Will you offer them a base salary, or will you take a commission-only approach? Once you have recruited your new employee, it is vital that you continually manage and motivate them to ensure they stay with you long term.
Performance management. We've talked about recruitment all the way through. We've found the right person, we've agreed what we're going to pay them, they've said they're going to start, and all of a sudden day one comes around, and you've probably been in, if you think about the first hire you had, that was probably just as much trepidation on the hiring manager's part as it was from the new person start, which was, oh no, I've got a new person starting on Monday, I've got to teach these people, I've got to look after them. So at least from a job spec perspective, it's just, this is what we want you to do, let's remind you of that, because we might have hired you 3 weeks ago, but now you're here, these are the responsibilities. But it might be the day that you actually just start with performance management as well. This is what we're going to talk about this week, next week, and so on in our formal discussions. This is where I need you to get your head around. We need you to do some of the, let's say, online training, compliancy type things. Maybe you need to go off and see a whole lot of lenders, whether it's a broker or an administrator type person. But at the same time, we just need to make sure they're clear about what's expected of them and how you're going to measure them. These are I'm sure most of you would be managing by numbers.
One of the things that we do on day one is our ops manager. We have a full day induction process for our new team members. So I think I've read somewhere that people make up their mind about a new job generally like in the first week or so, and if they haven't had a good initial impression, they quite often then move on within 6 months or what have you. So that's something we've focused on, particularly just that first day to make it a really positive experience for them.
When we decide we're going to hire someone for the first time, probably unconsciously we didn't even realise that we've actually adopted a whole new role for ourselves as well when we hire someone else. And that is, I'm no longer just a mortgage broker, I'm no longer originating loans or looking after my referrers, I'm also managing somebody. And that's an easy thing to say, but it takes on a whole bunch of other responsibilities that we wouldn't have even considered when we thought hiring someone's a great idea. We agree? It's a tough gig, right? You never know what you're going to get. Every day is different. You'll get lots of different issues and problems, but also successes on the way through. So I just wanted to really, rather than say, well, what do you do that's really good and have a chest beating exercise, maybe even thinking about it from your perspective in the past of being managed by somebody else. What are the best management traits that you've experienced as a staff member or a subordinate? And maybe even, if we can share some of the things that haven't worked so effectively from a management perspective.
So now that you know how to best employ new recruits, why not get started today?